Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel and like my videos for more updates. So the last update about Twist of Fate, Abhi and Pragya get married again after 2 years of separation. Let's continue. Aliyah and Tanu asked that what was the need to fight. They come home. Mitali says someone was fighting outside and realized that they were fighting with the neighbors. She sees the big bags and asks what is in it. Aliyah says we had gone to Pragya's house to sell my brother and get this money. Mitali says yes, you had gone there. She asks her to show the money. Tanu imagines Mitali, Aliyah and others stealing her money. She asks them to close the windows. They close the windows. Tanu shows the money. Mitali gets surprised and asks, can I touch? Tanu says yes. Mitali gets happy and says that this is real money. Tanu takes the money back. She says, I am thinking of buying all the basti and then all the water will be in my control and nobody will get water and I will apply tax in the water. Mitali says you are dreaming like Sheikh Chili and asks what is the need to buy basti when you can buy a new house. Tanu says then all the money will be spent to maintain high-profile lifestyle. She says then how new cars and clothes will be bought. Aliyah says you can use this money to bring Pragya down and asks her to do business and take risk and bring Pragya down. She says then it will be fun. Mitali says she will bring sweet. Tanu takes the money bundles and then throws some notes in the air. Mitali catches them and goes to bring sweet. Grandma tries to convince Pallavi to give the keys to Prachi for some time as it will be easy for her to do the work. Pallavi is not convinced. Grandma says that she is just talking about today. Pallavi says it will be unfair to Ria. Grandma says we are giving the keys for a good work. She says if we have to make someone do good work, then we have to give the keys. Else, Sony couldn't have done the work. Pallavi agrees to give the keys to Prachi on her insistence. Ria hears them all and recalls Teji telling her that whoever get the keys, the house will be run by that daughter-in-law. Ria thinks that Prachi is acting in front of Grandma. She used to act with Dad and trap Rambro using her tears. She says she will trap Mommy and thinks that she cannot let that happen. Prachi comes to Rambro and tells him that Papa came home and she had talked to Ma. She says now they will stay together and hugs him. Rambro says this is happening due to you. He says there are less children who brings the parents together. Ria gets jealous seeing them hugging and talking. Ria thinks that I should have been there. First you snatch Rambro from me, then this house. She says what to do with you and goes to the in-house temple. She takes ghee in the curtain and crushes it to make the ghee fall on the floor near the stairs. She thinks that Mommy gave her son to you, but she will not give the house keys to you, as she will fall before giving you the keys, else Grandma would fall. Ria says you want to impress everyone and I will make you fall in everyone's sight. That one day, Rambi will realize that he has done a big mistake of his life and he will think about me then. She says I have lost Dad 2 years back, but I will not lose Rambro. Sushma talks to her lawyer. Just then, Gaurav comes there with his lawyer. Sushma ends the call. She asks him not to act like a gentleman. He says I don't enter people's house without permission. Sushma asks, did you take permission before coming here? He says he has permission of law and he gets inside and sits down on the sofa. Sushma says, who told you to sit? Gaurav asks the lawyer to sit and says Sushma will not hinder law's work. He says you might be thinking why I came here. He says if you would have told me that you did not receive the court summon, then this is the old way to ignore the court. He says call Pragya as the summon is in her name. Gaurav says I will switch on the camera as she would attack me just as she sees him. He says he is very scared and changes side whenever he sees any girl. He says it was a mistake as Pragya is alone and doesn't have any husband or boyfriend. He says such girls who doesn't have the husband does such things. Sushma says I want to answer you with slaps, but I don't have the right to do this. The first right is of her husband and says whatever you want to say, tell her husband. Gaurav says I know that Pragya doesn't have a husband, then how come her husband was born overnight? Sushma asks him to ask her husband and calls Abhi, telling Gaurav has come. Abhi comes there. Gaurav looks at him and recalls how he had beaten him. He tells the lawyer that his face is showing that he has no respect of law and fighting this case for money. But I have much respect of law and that is why he did not kill him. Abhi says that he is alive just because of his life. Gaurav says he was his bodyguard. Abhi says who can be better bodyguard than a husband? Pallavi and Grandma are coming down. Pallavi stops to take a call. Ria thinks that it is good that Grandma will fall down and her bone will break and then mommy will not leave Prachi. Pallavi comes there and she was about to step down first. Rhea thinks that mommy is stepping down first. Pallavi steps on the G and falls down on the floor. Grandma shouted Pallavi. Everyone turns to look at her. Rhea acted shocked. Rambru, Prachi, Siddharth and Rhea runs to her. Pallavi says that she is feeling much pain. Rambru and Siddharth help her get up. Pallavi says she has much pain in her leg. Rhea asks, how did you fall down? She asks if water was on the stairs. Prachi looks at the G on the floor and says Basti was there. It seems she fell down by me. Pallavi shouted and asked how she can do mistake again and again. She says how to give her puja responsibility and scold her. Prachi says sorry. Pallavi says you say sorry many times and then do the mistakes. Prachi says it is my mistake. Rambru shouted at Prachi and asked how can you be so careless? If grandma had fallen then, recovery is impossible in this age. Rhea says I will talk to Prachi and ask him to take mommy to the room. Siddharth asks Rambru to talk to Vikram's doctor and he takes Pallavi to the room. Rhea says it is okay Prachi. Prachi says I don't know why I do mistakes and I become bad in everyone's sight. Rhea says I am your sister and I knows you well, that you will not do it intentionally. If I had not known you, then I would have scolded you like Rambru. She says the way Rambru scolded you, though he loves you, how can he talk like this? She says honestly, everyone must have thought the same thing like Rambru. Prachi gets teary eyes and goes. Rhea smiles. Rambru comes there and asks where is Prachi? Rhea says Prachi is feeling that you scolded her unnecessarily. She says Prachi feels that mommy should have been careful while working and everyone thinks of the ways to scold her. Rambru asks if Prachi said this. Rhea says no. I am her sister and I knows well when and what she is thinking. Rambru gets upset with Prachi. Rhea tells Rambru that mommy fell down and made a big issue. Rambru turns to Rhea. Rhea says Prachi felt this. She is my sister and she thought so much in anger, which I cannot tell you, and asks him not to pinpoint on her words and don't go and fight with Prachi. Rambru says what wrong did mommy do? He says nobody likes to scold unnecessarily. Rambru says if she was your mother, then wouldn't you have scolded her? Rhea says all mothers are the same. Rambru goes. Rhea thinks that this is the beginning of the end and Rambru will see only bad things in Prachi. She thinks good job. Abhi says that he believes in rituals and promises. He says I promised her that I will protect her when I get married to her and says that he protect her as bodyguard or husband. Abhi says it takes one avatar to each round of the marriage and says I become the bodyguard, the driver, assistant, cook, friend and some other moods are private and asks him to understand. He says Pragya is his everything and he can do anything for her. He tells Gaurav that was office and this is house. Yeah, I am her husband and very angry. Abhi says before I repeat the beating, go from here. Sushma thinks that this is what I want to show the world, angry husband. Pragya thinks that he is talking truly about the swears which we are taking. Gaurav says you are Tanu's husband. Abhi says that when we were stuck in bank robbery, the goons searched my name on net and came to know about Pragya being my wife. Gaurav searches on net and sees Abhi and Pragya's picture as husband and wife. Abhi asks the lawyer to reach on time as he doesn't want to waste the time. He then asks Gaurav to get lost and says I don't want to see your face. Sushma thanks Abhi. Abhi asks for what? He asks where to go to freshen up. Sushma says upstairs. A song plays in the background. Pragya thinks that his words are supporting me, but something else is there in his eyes. Rhea sees Rambru going to Prachi and smiles. Prachi asks him to believe that don't know how the things get ruined, even though she tried to make everything right. Rambru asks who is responsible for the wrong things. Prachi says me. Rambru says mommy doesn't want to shout at you, even though she gets hyper. Prachi says I didn't think like this. Rhea hears them and thinks they shall fight. Rambru apologizes to Prachi for shouting at her and falls on her feet. Rhea gets angry. Rambru says when mommy was shouting and scolding you, I shouldn't have scolded you. He says I did not understand what happened. Prachi says I am not upset that mommy scolded me or you shouted at me and tells that she is upset as she does the mistake. Rambru asks her to forgive him and wipe her tears. Rambru says I should have told you that I am with you, but I scolded you. Prachi says it is okay. Rambru says I am telling you from my heart. Prachi says I am also telling you from heart. Rambru says I will believe when you hug me. Prachi gets up and hugs him. Rambru says Rhea asked me to love you more. Prachi asks really? He says yes and says we have to love. Ria goes from there and thinks that I thought you would scold her, but you went to Olga. She says, why you do this? You gave my side of love to her and shower my love on her. She says, I will make Prachi fall in your sight, that you will never take her side. Rambro and Prachi dance. She says she wanted to do everything good, but things get ruined. Rambro asks her to talk to mommy, that is Pragya. Sushma packs her bags. Pragya asks why is she packing so much stuff and says you are going for a day. Sushma says if I have everything, I will feel better. Pragya gives a file of important papers. Sushma calls the driver. Pragya asks, do you really not want me to come with you? Sushma tells Pragya that she is going for just a night and kept all the medicines. She asks her to relax. The driver comes there and takes her stuff. Sushma says she is feeling strange and tells Pragya that she is stress-free as Abhi is here. She says the way he handled Gaurav, I like it. She says I like all the persons who are connected with you, but don't believe him until you are convinced. Pragya says okay and goes to drop her. Abhi plays in the room with the dad. Pragya comes there and asks what is happening here. Abhi says nothing, teacher. Pragya says I am not your teacher. Abhi says teachers used to do this. He says I will take you to the office. Pragya says today I am not going. He says he forgets what to become. He asks, do you want to say something? Pragya says I came to get the phone. Abhi thinks he will not do. Pragya thanks him. Abhi says you shall have so much ego that you cannot see me face to face. Pragya thanks him for supporting her in front of Gaurav. Abhi says I knew that Gaurav was the wrong guy and says if I was there on press conference today, I would have broken his leg. Abhi says you bought me for this. No need for thanks for what you have given me money for. Pragya feels bad and thinks she shall reply him. She shall tell him that she bought him out from there where he had no insult. Abhi thinks Pragya has done a sin and I will taunt her daily. Pragya says nobody can taunt me like this. I will make him right. Abhi thinks to make her right. He thinks to go and talk to her. He goes to the room and she comes out. They collide and argue. Abhi says they shall collide their heads again. He then asks Pragya why did she hit her head with force. He argues and goes. Prachi tells Rambro that her mother called. She picks the call. Pragya says it is very difficult to handle your father. He has no manners and collided with me. She then gets silent. Prachi asks what happened. Pragya asks why did she call. Prachi says to ask about you. Abhi comes to the room. Pragya talks in a low tone and asks why she is stressed. Prachi says nothing and tells about the arrangement in the house. Abhi thinks that Pragya is happy talking to whom. Thank you for watching my videos. Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and please subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thank you.